But one of the creepiest things that's happened to me came in my time there, so I was still fairly new to the job. I should also mention that I was really young when I worked at Target. I was 17 years old, and it was literally the second job that I ever had. I lived with my parents and was in high school at the time, so I'd been working there for maybe 2 or 3 months. I was a cashier, and one night I worked until 9:45 p.m. After getting off, I left Target and was walking in the parking lot to my car. Like right as I was leaving, I noticed this one guy who looked a little older than I was. He was wearing a red shirt and khakis, and I realized that he was probably a new coworker. I had never seen him before, but Target is a large store and is always getting new workers. I remember that the guy said hi to me, and I said hi back to him. He then asked me if I was just getting off, and when I said yes, he told me that he was as well. I asked if he was new, and he said yes, he had just recently started. He asked me how my shift had gone, and after I told him about it, I asked him what he did. I hadn't noticed him at the registers, so I figured that he wasn't a cashier. He told me that he did a little bit of everything, and then said that he had been all over the place that night. Looking back, that's kind of an odd answer, but I didn't really think much of it at the time. As we talked, we were both walking out in the parking lot towards our cars. Then I remember that he asked me where I lived. I told him the basic general area, referencing a business that was pretty close to my house and right outside of my neighborhood. I remember that he said, "Nice, me too." I didn't bother to ask him what school he went to though, because just about then I arrived at my car. So I told him to have a good night and I was leaving now. The guy was nice and he said good night and kept walking. After I got in my car, I saw him get into a car that was parked adjacent to mine. Then I left. I began driving home, and I noticed that the guy started driving behind me. However, I thought nothing of it at all. He said that he lived right by me, so obviously he would be driving the same way. And when I approached my neighborhood, the guy was still following me. As I turned off for the road right before my neighborhood, I remember seeing the guy keep going straight. I figured that's where he lived in that area, and I kept going. Now, this road that I was on, like I said, is right before my street. And after a while, I noticed a car pull onto the road. We were the only 2 cars on the road at this time, and the headlights looked the same as my coworker. I thought that it couldn't be though. I drove to my house, which was not that far down. I parked in the driveway and then got out. In that time, I didn't see anything. However, right after getting inside, I noticed headlights in the street. I looked out and saw the same car that my coworker was driving down the street very slowly. I literally ducked down from the window, even though the chance of him looking into the house were slim. I really thought it was suspicious now what he was doing. We had lived on this street my whole life, and I had never seen this guy before. I was confident that he didn't live here. That made me suspicious that he had been following me. The rest of the night, I didn't see the guy, and I worked at Target for about 3 months after that. That entire time that I worked there, I never saw the guy again. I realized months later how strange that whole ordeal was. I don't think the guy worked at Target at all. I think he was just pretending to, and then he claimed to live in my neighborhood so that he could follow me home.